Hailing from the backwoods of New Jersey, welcome to the Jersey Guys Music Podcast, where we feature in-depth music discussions and interviews with special guests from the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and AOR music. So settle in and crank it up. Now, here are your hosts, the Jersey Guys themselves, Tom and Mark.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Jersey Guys podcast. I'm Mark Ballo, here with my co-host Tom Coyne. Today we're joined by Paul Lidel, a guitar player. You guys might know him from Dirty Looks, you might know him from Dangerous Toys, but 2023 he started his own solo project called Scream Therapy. So we're going to talk about all that stuff tonight. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate it. Thank you. So we talked about Scream Therapy, brand new album coming out in about 3 weeks' time. Tell us a little bit about that band, because this is the second album, right? And you're the guitar player and singer on this, right?
That's true, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how the band started.
Okay, the band started around the pandemic time, and that sort of, I had a previous band that I also sang for called 99 Crimes, and that imploded during the pandemic, but I was still writing songs, and so afterwards, myself and our drummer Frank Kriegy, who plays drums in Scream Therapy, and we put together actually a whole bunch of songs, and we had a whole bunch of songs demoed out, and so then we ended up paring it down to, for the first album, it was 12 songs, and recording them. And so that album was all recorded and finished before we started playing live shows. And so now the band has been performing a lot over the course of the last year or two. And so this album has a different, more aggressive sound, I think, because the band is like real cohesive and tight, and so the second album is it's called Are You Ready, and that'll be available on CD through Paris Records on October 17th.
Okay, that's you're just almost about 2 years from the debut. It came out in October of 23, right?
Yeah, right, too close to that.
Ah, that's good. So what you said, the new album's a little bit heavier than the first album, right?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely more aggressive, and it has a lot more energy, kind of.
Well, I know the first single is "We Got Rock and Roll," right?
That is the first single, yeah.
I think Tom said he was just listening to that.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it. Really impressed. Great, catchy song. The guitar solo was smoking.
Thanks.
Yeah, really good video. We were talking about it before we went on the air. Very impressed with it.
Thanks a lot. The video was shot at a live show. So before a live show, we just ran the track a couple times, and we had people in the front with their cell phones, and so they just shot it. So it's exactly as if you were at a live show. And then there was some footage from some other shows as well in that video. But I thought the video sort of captured the idea of our live show pretty well.
Mm. Now you're saying the band's going to start playing out tomorrow, obviously, to promote the new album. Are you guys basically playing around the Texas area?
Yeah, for the time being. But we have plans of branching out past that.
Okay. You got to come up. I know you spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania and in this East Coast area here with Dirty Looks back in the day.
Yeah. We have plans of trying to get to the East Coast, because I'm from Rochester, New York, and so we have people that know who we are there, and then in like central Pennsylvania and around the Pennsylvania, and even in Baltimore, there's a radio station called 97 Underground, and the first album had the title track of the first album, which is called Scream Therapy, went all the way to #1 on that 97 Underground in Baltimore. So that was exciting. And then another song, the second single from that album, also went to #1, but this one stayed there for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that was super exciting. So we have some people that know who are in that area as well. So I think an East Coast tour is long overdue.
Cool. Very cool.
Now, if you went on the road with that, would you do like a mix of maybe 99 Crimes and even some Dirty Looks songs?
No.
Strictly Scream Therapy.
Yeah. It's its own thing. Yeah.
Okay, it's its own entity. Okay.
Now, I got to talk about this because you mentioned Baltimore and 97 Underground. That goes back to the old Hammerjacks days, right?
It does.
I remember that station. I mean, I was only in Hammerjacks once in my life, but I do remember advertisements and, local newspapers on the East Coast in this area. And I always saw that 97 Underground.
Hammerjacks was killer. And 97 Underground is a great station. So.
Oh, very cool. So what are the plans now? I know you've been working with Paris Records on these 2 albums, right?
Yeah.
I actually know Tom Mathers from way back in the day when he had the Rock Nation magazine. He used to do a couple little album reviews and things like that for him many, many years back. So I've known Tom and Paris Records for a lot of years. How are they treating you guys?
Oh, it's always great. I've worked with Tom also for many, many years, and with several releases of a variety of different bands, and it's always great working with him. He always he's very, as far as the creative side, he's very gives us total artistic control, and so it's just great working with him.
That's cool. So he's not telling you, hey, I need it to sound like this or I need it to sound like that, like most labels do, right?
Right. And so he's real excited about this new album, and as am I. But
Well, I think I saw something where he meant that he think this is probably the strongest thing that you've been involved with, as far as what he, like you said, you've worked with him on other projects, but he says this new album might be the strongest thing he's heard from you. Yeah.
He's when he heard it, he was he was really, really pleased. So so that was cool, because that's the team, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. I mean, when you have a guy like that, even if it's a smaller label, when you have someone who's that excited and that much behind it, that can only be a good thing,
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we wanted to talk about, because, I know the current thing, obviously, Paul Lidel, Scream Therapy, the new album coming out October 17th. But you have a long history, obviously, from going back to the Dirty Looks days, then Dangerous Toys. And we're going to kind of come forward to that, because there's even that little bit of a kind of connection with the Dangerous Toys and Jason McMaster. And, eventually you guys in 2021, 22 kind of resurrected the Dirty Looks thing. We're going to touch on all of that. But I know Tom wants to go back to those early days of Dirty Looks and talk to you about that.
All right. I did want to mention, though, that their title track to the album, which is called Are You Ready?
Okay.
Going to be released as a single on streaming on October 1st, along with the video.
Oh, okay. So that'll be the second single.
Yeah, it'll be the second single line.
And how do you guys are the videos available on YouTube?
Yeah.
That's where you're promoting them. Where can fans find out? Do you have socials, a website for the band?
Screamtherapyband.com.
Okay. Well, we'll certainly plug that, at the closing credits and on the YouTube posting and everything, and on our Facebook page. We'll definitely put that up there.
Awesome.
I have one quick question while we stay with Scream Therapy. I was watching the new video, and I'm really impressed with your vocals. Like, I'd never really, being all the years that you were in your Dirty Looks, obviously, Henrik was the singer.
Right.
your progression as a singer has, to me, is like really like improved exponentially. That on this new song, I actually was trying to figure out who you reminded me of a little bit, and then I saw somebody post online today that you remind them of Joey Tempest, and when I heard that, that was who it was.
Really?
Is there any connection? Are you a Europe fan, or is that just an inflection in your voice? Because that was when I read that this guy said, I said, that's who he sounds like. Certain phrasings and the way you say, and it's obviously a big compliment.
Well, I mean, I think he's a good singer. I'm not real familiar with Europe. I know of two or maybe three of the songs, but I wouldn't call him. I wouldn't call him an influence.
Okay, just by happenstance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do hear it, and it was fun. I couldn't figure out who, and I was just reading today on this Heavy Harmonies site that we both frequent, and there was a guy said that he sounds like Joey Tempest. I was like, that's who he reminds me of. Like certain like phrasings and inflections in your voice, yeah. But your vocals are really, really come on. I mean, you really have like frontman type of vocals now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very impressive.
Well, having said that, who would you say, we know it's not Joey Tempest, but who would you say your influences were vocally?
Well, obviously I don't sound anything like my influences, but yeah, I would say Steven Tyler's always been, sort of the benchmark for vocals for me. And but yeah, I don't know who I sound like. I don't really try to. Yeah, I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, you're a guy that came as a guitar player early on in your career, and with the 99 Crimes, right? And now with Scream Therapy, you've taken that frontman role.
Right, yeah. And that's a role that I've been in with a variety of other bands, by the way. So it's not a new thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, if we could
do.
The what was that?
But it is something that I love to do.
Okay.
And I'll tie that in with the Dirty Looks things, because you were his, you were his Batman and Robin. You were his sidekick. And before we even get into the albums, with all the years that you did play the guitar slinger in a band with how could I phrase it, a very unique singer, did you ever pine to be? Did you find yourself at times wishing that you could sing?
No, not really. But there were times when Henrik would say to me, "Hey, man, you're singing tonight."
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and he would usually end up singing later. But
okay.
Yeah, there were shows where he said, "Yeah, you're doing it."
Wow. Okay, so even far back, you had experience with being a frontman, so to speak.
Not really then.
Right.
At least from the vocal standpoint, you got to
right.
Kind of be
it was trial by fire.
Yeah. But I've always sang,
okay.
And even back when I played drums, I still would sing lead vocals. So
now, how did you get? I know that they started off, before the real basic inception of the band was before you were in it. How did you get hooked up with him and Dirty Looks?
When the band was coming together, the road crew was also coming together, and a member of the road crew saw me play and said, "Man, that guy would be a good fit for this band." And he gave me Henrik's number, and so I called Henrik up and went down and auditioned. I was living in Rochester, New York at the time, and they were in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. So I auditioned in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania, and then we played. I got the job, but we toured a lot, but it was extremely low budget, like $5 a day kind of thing, and
Wow.
we drove around in a Chevette. But we drove up and down the East Coast, playing, Maryland, all over Pennsylvania, going up into, down to South Carolina and all around there. And that was before, of course, before Cool from the Wire. And then we got a review in Billboard magazine, and it was from a previous album, and so after that, all the labels started to get interested in the band, and we started doing a lot of showcases, and so we showcased for Atlantic Records in my hometown of Rochester at a club called the Penny Arcade, and a lot of circumstances around the show that made it not ideal, but the A&R guy said, yeah, I can see through all that, and so they wanted to sign us. The circumstances, I guess I can talk about that. We always traveled with our own this huge PA and lighting rig, right? And so that, of course, the day of the showcase, the truck breaks down, hundreds of miles from the place. And so, and the band that, on that particular date when the guy from Atlantic Records could come, the band that had the date wouldn't give it up. So we had to end up like opening for them. And they had like speakers on a stick kind of PA system used, and no lights and all that. So so that was an interesting show, but it still served the purpose.
You must have felt like the wedding band with the PAs on the stick, right?
Right, and but the A&R guy, his name is Frankie LaRocca, and he said, yeah, I can hear through all that. He said, this band. He said this band's got it. So we also showcased for several other different labels, but we ended up going with Atlantic.
Now that the Cool from the Wire album, there was a lot of songs that were kind of culled from like the earlier period. Were they re-recorded for this album, or?
Yeah. So the way that happened, when Atlantic signed the band, they were originally going to just re-release the In Your Face album and like remix it and put that out, and then we did some more demos, and they love the new demos, and they're like, oh no, hold the presses, we're doing a full album, and bring in a producer, let's bring in Max Norman, who just did Ozzy and all this stuff, and do it right. So that's what we did. So that's why there's some of the same songs on In Your Face, but then several new ones.
And they were re-recorded, or they didn't use the original versions, or?
No, those were re-recorded.
That's what I thought, yeah, because the album flowed really well. You could tell it was, at least it sounded like it was redone. The songs were re-recorded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
what was the buzz? Myself as a fan, when I got this, I flipped my ass for this album. I absolutely love it to this day. What was the response for that? Did you guys feel like the band was blowing big at that time already?
You're talking about Cool from the Wire?
Yes.
Well, we were coming out of, just being a fairly unknown club band, and so it was really cool to see things on MTV and all that, and hear the songs on the radio, and have people across the country know about the band. But as far as thinking that we were going to be the next big thing. I don't think I had that feeling on that album.
Okay. Did you have it on the follow-up album, Turn of the Screw?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little, because at that point there was momentum, and there was a big, like, sort of a buzz in the industry about the band, and so yeah. So for that one, it seemed like it was entirely possible that this could be like a big one.
Now, I think what year did Cool from the Wire come out?
88.
88, right? I saw you guys opening for Kiss at the Ritz.
Is that where?
At the Ritz in New York City?
Oh, okay, yeah. One of those shows, we did 2 shows
Right.
back to back, and one of them was my birthday.
Oh, very cool. I think I saw I want to say the second night, if I'm not mistaken. There was one that was, the Kiss show was broadcast on the local New York radio station. And I saw the night that wasn't. So I don't remember if it was the first or second.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I saw you guys.
So that first night, man, they right before we went on, I mean, this is in Kiss's hometown, of course, in New York City, and right before we went on, they dropped the screen down in front of the stage, and they showed the Kiss movie, the Phantom at the Park. So everybody's like all riled up about seeing Kiss, and then the screen comes up, and here's this band. They had no idea who they were. So they were sort of flipping us off, and they didn't want to know anything about Dirty Looks for about the first 2 or 3 songs. But then by the end of the show, they had accepted us, and they were into it.
Nice. Well, in 88, I would have been 18 years old. So I remember going to that show, and there's 2 things I'll always remember about that show. It was probably the loudest show I ever went to on the Kiss side, and it was maybe the hottest show I've ever went to. Whatever that place held, 1,200, 1,500 people in the middle of August, right? And it was like a sweat box beyond belief.
Yes, it was in the middle of August, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, talk about, I mean, the month prior to that in 88, it was July of 88. You guys played with Kiss up in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
And so how did that all come about? Like, how did you get on that bill, and how did you end up getting on to the New York City shows?
I'm not really sure, but I do know that we were playing at L'Amour in New York City the night before. And, of course, L'Amour, like at 11 o'clock at night, the place is empty, right? And then 12
We're just
o'clock,
talking about this.
so the bands don't go on till real late.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're thinking, oh yeah, there's nobody going to be here tonight. And then about 12 o'clock, people start coming in.
Yep.
He's one of those guys. He's from Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. So yeah. And so yeah, we go on stage and the place is packed, right?
Right.
And so I think it was later that night. They said, yeah, we're opening for Kiss tomorrow. We only found out at the last minute.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay. Interesting.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
So consequently, I don't think the night before any of us got any sleep, because you don't get out of L'Amour till like early in the morning, right?
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning you're leaving there.
And we had to get to New Hampshire to play in the afternoon.
Wow.
So I remember thinking, this is awesome. I'm just played with Kiss. That was fantastic. I got to meet Gene Simmons. He came up and introduced himself, and it couldn't have been a better experience. And it was, I think, a 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And I just remember that night being dead tired because I hadn't slept in,
Yeah.
a couple days.
Wow. Well, it's funny because then I think we were talking, you just mentioned Turn of the Screw. It was, and I remember this, it was September of 89. I saw Dirty Looks again at a little club. I don't know if you remember that place, Studio One in New Jersey.
Studio One, that rings a bell. Oh, yeah, right.
Studio One in Newark, New Jersey. That was my home club. this guy over here grew up in Brooklyn, so he was the Lemoore guy. I was the Studio One New Jersey guy, so that's what I always remember. But I saw you guys, and if I remember, it was a Sunday night, and I don't know why I remember this, but it's like they never really did shows on Sunday nights. You know, that wasn't a cool night. But you guys were there, and I remember seeing that show. So that would have been like maybe a year after that, a little bit over a year after that Kiss show at the Ritz.
Yeah. I remember Studio One now.
Okay,
It's cool.
that was my home club. I basically, it was like my second home. I like lived there, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I bet a lot of bands played there, right?
Oh my God, I saw some great shows there. Yeah, tons of nationals coming through all the time. Everything from Warrant to I don't know who else. I mean, just tons of great bands playing there.
Yeah, I'm playing with Warrant in a couple weeks, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? Where's that going to be at? Down in Texas?
Yeah, it'll be at the Hotspot Event Center here in Cedar Park, Texas.
Okay, cool. And then everybody can see the dates up on Scream Therapy Band. You said .com?
ScreamTherapyBand.com, right?
Okay, great.
So we were on Turn of the Screw at that point. Where was the band in terms of, you know, popularity, where the record was going?
Well, I can tell you that we went from a van to a bus. So that was an indication that something cool was happening. And I know that we got a little more airplay on MTV, for anybody that remembers MTV. And so that was good. And we were starting to play some bigger and bigger shows. So that was a cool thing.
Now, at that time, we've talked about this with countless artists. Everybody was kind of under the umbrella of, by '89, as a hair band. You guys clearly, sound-wise, were not. Did that start to become a hindrance for your sound?
Well, I mean, of course, there's the impending grunge thing.
Right. But even in '89, because it used to annoy me. I'm a '60s and '70s child, you know. So like the '80s to me was a renaissance period, because I never thought I would see what I saw in the '60s and '70s happen again in the '80s. So I grew up I was a Black Sabbath fan. I was a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young fan, Grateful Dead fan, a Yes fan, Jethro Tull fan. I hated pigeonholing, and when that period started of the pigeonholing, it really annoyed me, because there were bands like King's X, there were bands like Dirty Looks, Enough's Enough, that I felt didn't fit in that, and they were lumped into hair band. And
I think that I don't think that fit. I always thought of what we did as more like Dirty Looks anyway, is like stomp rock.
yes,
You know, AC/DC and Rhino Bucket and Kicks and bands like that, where when you listen to it, your head does this.
right,
Mm.
right.
And I don't think of that as like, you know, hair band.
No, I didn't either, but by '89, everybody was under that umbrella. So I was just,
And around that time, that was like the thing that was popular at the time. So I guess everybody, you know, if you weren't, I guess it meant that you weren't like on that other side of MTV.
right.
The hair bands, and then there was all the other, you know, the Duran Durans and such.
Right, that too. Yes, right,
So it was, you're either one or the other.
right. Unfortunately, that's what it became. Right, it was, everything was just categorized in, one format or another.
Yeah.
So now again, '89 was, I guess, probably the last year before things started to tip. At that point, did you feel the band was on the verge of like taking it to like a third album that would have potentially broke it big?
We had studio time booked, in, I want to say Wisconsin, but it was the same studio that Skid Row did their first record on. And so we were doing pre-production and getting ready to go into that. And then we got the news that, you know, all of the quote unquote not grunge bands
Right.
Are being dropped at once from every label, you know. And so those plans were obviously scrapped.
And that would have been what, 90 or 91?
Oh, yeah, that would have been, yeah, probably right around there. Yeah, because Dirty Looks had released 5 Easy Pieces.
Right.
And so we had toured that and had a couple of videos, I guess, off that album. Is that true?
Yes.
At least
There was a video. And you also had a Japanese deal on that album, too.
yeah, 5 Easy Pieces was that was through
Zero.
David Krebs.
Yeah.
David Krebs was the manager of Aerosmith. It's responsible for the careers of Aerosmith and Ted Nugent and AC/DC. So this one guy, he is like very high-powered dude, and so he loved Dirty Looks, and so he was responsible for that 5 Easy Pieces album, the Rock World, Sony Rock World label.
Yeah, that was one of my more, like, I pulled, I didn't want to do a full discography. We'd be keep you to we at midnight tonight. But I pulled out like 4 or 5 of my favorite albums I wanted to talk to you about, and that was one of them. I thought that was a really strong album. And it came out in Japan, and it was really a shame that it didn't get like the full American treatment because the scene had already changed.
The point where now it's not on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah, it's not on any streaming. You can't find that one. There's other albums, you know, other less known albums that are on streaming, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and all that, but that one is not on there, and I don't know what to do about it.
Did it have American distribution?
Yeah, I think so.
It did, yeah, because I have the Japanese copy. I remember it got released on Zero Records in Japan. Yeah, and I wasn't. That's how I bought it. So I wasn't sure what the distribution was on it. But the album I wanted to talk to you about, as a lifelong fan of the band, my all-time favorite album was Super Deluxe.
Oh, okay.
If you could tell me a little bit about that album, then I'm going to ask you some personal questions I have about the songs on it, and it's my personal favorite. So if you indulge me for 10 minutes.
Yeah. So Super Deluxe was that was recorded near the end of Hendrix's life, and in that period of time, he had cleaned up. He was sober, and his voice was sounding, you know, better than ever.
Yep.
I can see what you're talking about, and you know, and so in my tracks for that album were done here in Texas, but we spent a lot of time on the phone, Hendrik and I, just, you know, talking about songs and just shooting the bull and laughing, and those are real good memories for me of the, you know, that album all coming together.
Yeah, that album struck a chord. I thought the songs were phenomenal. I thought his voice was phenomenal. The playing on it was great. And to me, like when people like pick an album that was like dirty, raunchy, hard rock to me, Super Deluxe was it.
Yeah, Hendrik was his singing was phenomenal on that. I agree.
My favorite song on the album is Dead Movie Star.
Okay.
And what was the writing process on that?
I think for all of it, was pretty much, Henrik would have the riffs and stuff like that, and then I would just do my tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, was it the album before that? Yeah, I had.
I think the album before that you weren't on, right? California Free Writing.
Is it?
I think that was the album before it. I think it was.
Yeah, because a couple of my songs were on one of those.
The Super Deluxe had Million Miles on it, Bringing Me Down. It really, to me, it was like a heavier version of like the great stuff from the 80s, only with like even more edge to it.
Ah, yeah.
Right, you heard that in it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So even by that time, I mean, you're talking, it was one of them things where you were just kind of sending files back and forth to each other?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we could talk a little bit more about Scream Therapy. I didn't want to go through 100
Okay.
Dirty Looks albums, but
No, you don't. Do you have anything, other albums you want to?
no, I was just pulled out the my four favorite, and I Gasoline I'm a fan of too. I thought that was a strong album.
Okay, yeah, that one. That one I played on two of the tracks and wrote two of the tracks. That's what I was trying to think of. But a lot of it I didn't play on.
Okay.
So now, let's talk about your time with Dangerous Toys. When did you enter the band? Around 94?
In 94, right.
Okay, and you did two albums with the band over the years, right?
Well, there's another one that's coming out next year, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So right after I joined the band in 94, we recorded an album called Pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
we toured a bunch for that one, and then recorded another album called The Artist Formerly Known As.
Right.
Because that album was in 96, and by 96, a band like Dangerous Toys, which would also be unfairly thrown into the hair metal genre, I thought.
Yeah.
But so the artist formerly known as Dangerous Toys is named that because the music sounds totally different. And I think it's really cool, and but a lot of people that liked what the band sounded like before couldn't wrap their heads around the artist formerly known as Dangerous Toys. Although I've since seen a lot of people that say good things about that album.
Okay, I saw Dangerous Toys, but before you joined the band, back on probably the first album.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them in New York City. And I want to say, and I'm not know if I'm correct with this, but I want to think that they may have opened up for Warrant, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. But it was at the Ritz. It was at the Ritz, the other Ritz, not the Ritz you guys played at with Kiss, but the newer Ritz, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a newer Ritz.
Yeah, there was one on, what was it, 54th?
54th Street.
The old Studio 54 in New York City, dance club back in the 70s or so, 80s. They moved from the original location to the new location. Yeah. So you mentioned there's a new album you're working on with Jason for 26.
Yeah. And Dangerous Toys has been the same lineup, including me, the new guy. 31 years later,
Wow.
many decades since the first album. So
Yeah.
same guys.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit about let's veer off a little bit because was it 2019 or so? There was talk of you kind of resurrecting Dirty Looks, right? And bringing kind of Jason into the mix with that. You guys ultimately did a show. I guess it would have been post pandemic in 21 that you recorded a live album, right?
Yeah. So we there was a lot of people that were telling us we want to hear those songs again, and let's have you down and do a show. Just get a singer and so I was thinking, well, I mean, the only person that I would even consider doing this with is Jason, because Henrik and Jason had this mutual admiration kind of thing going, and whenever Dirty Looks would play and Jason was in the audience, Henrik would always have him up on stage to sing.
Uh-huh.
And he's the only singer he's the only person that ever like sat in with Dirty Looks.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, he was, and I was like, well, okay, if Jason's singing, then I think it'll be cool. So we had it already booked and everything. Show booked for March of 2020.
Mm-hmm. The month the world stopped.
I don't have to tell you much more about that, but that show obviously got postponed for a couple years, and then then we were able to get together and rehearse like once the day before the show. So this is give a 2-year gap, right? Having, because we rehearsed here in Texas for the show that got canned by the pandemic, but as for the one before the live album was recorded, which incidentally that wasn't intended to be recorded.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I wasn't sure when if that kind of thing was ever going to happen again. So I said, well, we gotta take a feed off the board anyway. We have to have some way to remember this.
Sure. Yeah.
And let's have some cameras on hand just to capture this, because it was probably going to be a one-off. And then turned out the recording ended up sounding good, and all the video stuff was cool. And it's like, well, let's share this with people. And so it got put out as a live album and DVD, of which I really like. I'm proud of it. I think it was a particularly magical night, and it was just this cool vibe.
Yeah. Well, that would be Cool from the Speedway is the title of that live album and DVD.
Speedway, right. And then after that, we played, I think 5 more shows. We did Monsters of Rock, the Monsters of Rock cruise. So that was a blast. We played at an arena in Philadelphia, and then a number of shows in Sealands Grove. But yeah, that was all kind of just saw it as honoring Henrik's memory and honoring those songs, and having everybody get to relive that kind of thing one more time. And we had a good time doing it, and people enjoyed it.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, the last time I saw Jason was he was playing with, it was a few years back, he played with Accept here in New Jersey, because Mark Tornillo, the singer, was having some issues, and he played like half the show. He sang half, and Mark sang the other half.
Ah, yeah, and before that, he was singing the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He was called in to do that kind of at the last minute.
Yeah. No, that was and he still got the great voice.
Yeah.
So actually looking really forward to the album in 26.
Yeah. Oh, Jason's singing great. Probably better than ever. People that come to our shows now are like, yeah, he's better than he was.
That's great.
Wow. So is the sound of the album, can you tell us a little bit about it? Is it going to sound like the early stuff, or is it something totally different?
With the vibe of the first album, but with if like a combination of like Aerosmith and ZZ Top and Van Halen put together, I would put it like, I would say that combination sort of describes it pretty well.
Nice. Wow. Very cool. So let's jump back into Scream Therapy for a minute here. The band's debut, I said earlier, came out in 2023. The new one's due out in a few weeks on Parish Records. What's the plan going forward with you guys? Just more shows, more videos?
Yeah. We it's rolling pretty strong, and so we'll have, like I said, the next single is going to be October 1st, and then the album release is October 17th, and then we'll have another couple singles, and then shortly after that it'll be released on streaming, and so we'll have a lot of shows to support it, and we'll have a lot of presence on social media. That's the intent.
Okay. And now this is obviously, I mean, this is your band, something you started. This is an ongoing project. I mean, we know we're talking about 2026, some new Dangerous Toys material, but is this something Scream Therapy is this your baby that you're going forward with?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be starting on the third album before too long.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, because I didn't know how exactly like Tom worked with that stuff at Parish Records. If he says, "Hey, I want you guys to start writing a new album," or how that process worked.
Yeah. So it's something that's rolling, and everybody's really excited about it, and so yeah, we'll be it'll go for a long time.
Okay, cool. Talk about the other members in the band, if you want to do a quick mention of who's in the band.
Yeah, I mentioned Frank Kriege is the drummer, and Paul Betts is the bass player. And Frank and I and Paul have all played together in another band for like 5 years. So we already knew each other real well and had played a lot of shows. And then Lee Young plays guitar also. So the four of us, it's a real strong live band.
Nice. All right. Well, anything?
We'd love to see you in this area.
Yeah.
Love to come play. Yeah, we got to get that figured out.
Yeah. Anything else you want to?
No, I'm good.
Talk? No. Well, everybody, Paul, we thank you for tonight and sharing with some great stories with us. Everybody, look out October 17th, the brand new album from Paul Lidel, Scream Therapy. It's called "Are You Ready?" And thanks a lot, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. Great talking to you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.